What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must label free. I'm super excited. I've got a very cool guest joining us all the way from LA. You know, we love the West Coast people over there. He is a speaker, a coach. He's also got an incredible story. So tune in and listen to him, how he overcame and what was diagnosed as an incurable disease, but he is here today. Please welcome Kevin Nahai. Kevin, thank you for joining us today. I am so pumped and excited to hear your story because it just, you look like you've just oozed positivity and just like good vibes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. And thank you for the shout out to the West Coast people. I am a huge fan of Chicago. I actually like it better than New York. I like New York too for the New York listeners, but yeah, it's
We
really
have our
great to be here, and
favorites.
thank you for the kind introduction.
You're welcome. So I'd like to just kind of start out. I mean, I read your bio again. You know, I read it in the beginning when we connected, and then I read it again, and it's just something that really touched me. And that's why I started my podcast, was just myself having to overcome a lot of labels, a lot of trauma, to where it's got me to today. So can you tell us a little bit like about your journey and what brought you to actually coming here to share your story with us?
Yeah, of course. I was moved to come on your podcast when I learned about it, because as I tell my story, you will hear a lot of labels, and they are labels that I had to work very hard, first of all, to believe that they were possible to overcome, and then I had to work just as hard actually to overcome them.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll get into that more, but basically when I was 19 years old, my first semester, freshman year of college. I'm 29 now, so this was 10 years ago in the fall of 2011. I became very, very ill very quickly out of nowhere. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I was having internal bleeding,
Oh, wow.
and I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is an incurable autoimmune disease of the stomach. Um, and autoimmune diseases can be treated, and some of them can be put into remission, but it all depends on how bad the case is.
Yeah.
And I got slapped out of nowhere, no symptoms, no preconditions, no nothing, with one of the worst cases on the books. Um, so for 11 months, I was living in and out of the hospital. I lost 70 pounds,
Oh,
and I fell into a very, very deep depression, and I became suicidal. The other thing that happened as a result of the emotional trauma of this whole thing is that I developed very intense anorexia. At first, I couldn't eat,
yeah.
and then I was starving myself.
Right.
And when you're going through trauma, it can end up in cutting, it could end up in alcoholism, it could end up in anorexia, it could end up in all sorts of self-destructive behaviors. And the way that it ended up for me, the way that I was trying to impose a sense of control over my life, and the way that the trauma ended up for me was anorexia, depression, panic attacks, self-isolation. Those were how, I could have been a drug addict or an alcoholic or something else, but this was, for whatever reason, how it ended up in my case.
Yeah.
Um, and, it took me many, many years to, as I said, first of all, believe that it was possible for me to climb out of that hole.
Yeah.
And then it took me many years after that to climb out of that hole and those holes. And I really went on two missions. Um, and this is the last part of my story I'll share right now. My first mission was that I was going to see if it was possible for me to turn my life around. And turning my life around meant learning how to have happy and healthy relationships, learning how to get my body and my health in order, learning what I wanted to do with my career, right?
Hmm.
Basically, creating a fulfilling life for
Yeah.
myself in the face of all of these challenges. And then the second part of my mission was, if I could do that for myself, then I was going to teach other people how I did it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to teach them why I did it, or I wasn't going to teach them why it was important to do it. I was going to teach them the practical how, the day in, day out, this is what I did to move past these labels and to create very, very different results, concrete results in my life.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have a girlfriend. Her and I aren't really in contact anymore, but we were close for quite a while. And she had Crohn's disease, and she had flare-ups all the time. I don't know if it's what she was eating or she wasn't taking good care of herself, but I know that it was not easy for her with what she went through. And I don't think when people hear that, they don't understand how debilitating that can be for someone. And
Yeah.
just witnessing what she went through and how sick she would get was just it hurt me, because there's nothing I can do to help. As soon as you watch someone you love or care about and they have that. So in your
Well,
go
the
ahead.
other crazy debilitating thing is that when you have a physical ailment, people, think that you're treating and dealing with the physical ailment, but the emotional fallout
Yeah.
is often more difficult to overcome. Like if God forbid you got COVID during the pandemic and you went into the hospital in the ICU and you had to be on a ventilator and you survived, everybody is like, oh my God, this COVID is the worst thing ever.
Right.
But the trauma of having your whole life upended by an illness,
Yeah.
and then you feel like your body has betrayed you and all of that kind of stuff. We don't talk about the emotional aspect of physical illnesses,
Right.
and all of the emotional stuff that you have to recover from as well.
Yeah, I mean, so my late husband, he was sick for many, many, many years, and I became a caretaker. And it's when you're a caretaker to someone you love and you watch them go through a battle with their life, he's no longer here. He did not
I'm
survive.
so sorry.
You know what? He's in a better place. He's not suffering anymore. He needed his third kidney transplant, completely different type of ailments. He was really big into steroids, wouldn't stop injecting, even though he needed his third transplant. And
Wow.
during that time, he had open heart surgery. I was administering dialysis for 3 years. And so like watching someone go through
He was a
that.
bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, bodybuilder. It didn't know when to stop. He never had an off season. So
wow.
it was very hard. But watching someone go through that, and he basically gave up at the end, but it's just like I just saw the mental and emotional decline in him. And he
Mm,
would just cry, like, I can't do this anymore. And no matter what I said or did, like, come on, we can do this. Like, I'm here for you. I even went as far as like I started the IVF process, like, you have something to live for. Let's have a baby, because I had always
mm,
wanted a child. And that was and he had 4 daughters from a previous marriage, so it wasn't enough to get him strong enough to keep fighting for his life. So I mean, I've been lucky enough to not have like minimal ailments, like, oh, I got injured my hip or my back from lifting too
right.
heavy, but nothing to the point where I would feel like my body betrayed me. I don't know how I would react to that. I think I would not do well at all.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, so you witnessed firsthand the emotional trauma that comes along
oh,
with the physical ailments. So
bad,
yeah.
bad.
But the point of it all, I mean, sometimes your body betrays you, sometimes you abuse your body. Those are two different things, right?
Yeah.
So, but the point of it all is that in my case, I had anxiety, I had depression, I had anorexia, I had Crohn's disease. In my relationships with women, I had codependency. I had all of these very daunting labels to
Yeah.
overcome, and I had to read entire books on them, and I had to go to special types of therapy for them. And I also had binge eating disorder, which is like another big slap, right? Another big label to slap on. And the truth is that with any one of those things,
Yeah.
people will tell you, look, you can manage it, but this is something that you'll have for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
right? You will always have depressive tendencies, or your genetic makeup, you will always be an anxious person, or you will always be a little bit codependent or whatever.
Yeah.
Eating disorders never fully go away. That's something I've heard from eating disorder therapists, A to Z, for years. It never fully goes away. When you have a troubled relationship with your body, the way that your husband did, it's something that, you will it will follow you like a shadow for the rest of your life.
Do you feel
And
that way?
no, I absolutely staunchly do not believe that, because
Okay.
I am
Yeah.
living proof that it's not.
Yeah.
Hey Dad, how you been? What's going on?
Well, not too much. Spring cleaning time.
Well, did you weed whack? Did you get the carpets clean? 'Cause I know Mom's all about that, so I want to make sure we're ready to go.
Well, yeah. I got the gutters clean. That's about it.
That's it? Well, when I said weed whack and all that and the carpet, I kind of meant like the Manscaped 4.0. It's a little more personal.
I understand. Yeah.
Works
no,
awesome.
Have you tried this?
I have tried it and it works wonders. It really does. Yeah.
Okay. This is pretty cool. And see, it comes with an LED light, and I understand it's waterproof.
It is waterproof. It works well. I tried it. I mean, it's a good product. It's a great product. I've tried other ones, and they're just so noisy, and they don't cut very well.
Wow, that's really good, Mike. Where do we get this?
Well, you can get it at manscaped.com, and while you're at manscaped.com, you know that we got a code, so we get it cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of a discount can we get?
We can get it at label-free 20, and it gives you 20% off the product, and it gives us free shipping. And I've tried some of the other products there because they got these all new premier products. Like this here, it's a deodorant.
Now, is it for underarm or other places, or?
I tried, but it's for the underarm.
Okay.
That's where it's at. And you can also get it at manscaped.com. Same code. We're using the code again. Label free 20. Label
We get
free
20%
20.
off and free shipping.
Free
as
shipping.
well.
I mean, how can you go wrong with that, right?
Wonderful.
So tell us about that road to, I guess, of recovery to where you are today, because I think that these are two different people that, if I was to see you back then versus now, like you're a completely different person than you were.
I'm a completely different person, and it's I was having dinner with a friend the other night, and we were talking about how ourselves at 30, very different from who we were at 25, and
Oh.
and even more different from who we were at 20.
Wait till you get in your
And-
40s.
Right? And these are only 5-10 year increments.
Yeah.
But Deanna, I think that a marker of success is that you put so much distance between who you are now and who you used to be that you don't recognize that person anymore.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
can be a little bit of a mind F, excuse my language,
No,
when
go ahead, swear away.
when you look back on your life and you're like, who the hell was that?
Yeah.
What was I doing? What was I thinking? But it's also a sign of huge success. But to answer your question, the first thing that I had to do was I had to dispense with the idea that I was going to live with these issues forever. Right? In the back of my mind, it was like, look, I'm not stupid. I know that Crohn's disease is incurable until we
Right.
come up with a cure. But that I was not going to have those words, sort of tease me for the rest of my life. I was
Run
not
your
going to be
life.
haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be haunted by that.
Yeah.
Right. And I had the belief that no, just because I have a lot of eating disorder problems now does not mean that I cannot get to a place where that no longer affects my life.
Yeah.
And now truly, I love my body. I'm happy with my body. I work out every day to
Good.
support my body, not to abuse my body. And just like anybody, if I eat too much candy and pizza, then I gain a couple pounds, and then I'm like, okay, I don't like the way this looks. So then I lose a couple pounds. Just,
Yeah. Or
just
how
like
it feels.
anybody,
like,
right?
"Ugh, too much pizza and candy. I don't feel good. Ugh." Yuck.
Exactly.
It's like coming out of my pores.
Right. Exactly. So, but as I said, I'm living proof that you can overcome the stigmas and the labels and the things that you're told about you or the way that your life has been. A very common example, I mentioned this before we started recording, but if you go to an AA meeting,
Yeah.
everybody stands up and they say, "Hi, I'm John. I'm an alcoholic." Then you find out they've been sober for like 35 years.
Yeah.
God bless them. Right.
Yeah.
So my stance is whatever helps you. If saying I'm an alcoholic after 10 or 15 or 30 years of sobriety keeps you sober,
Then
then
sure, why
say it.
not? Yeah.
Right. But for me, I knew that if I were an alcoholic, constantly reminding myself that I'm an alcoholic, or constantly reminding myself that I used to be so depressed or so anorexic or so sick, I knew
Yes.
that that was going to tarnish my reputation with myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree.
So I needed to take a different approach. And now one of the things I really help my clients with is dispose of stories that they've been telling themselves about the way they are and the
Yeah.
way their life has to be.
I love that. That's very powerful.
Thank you.
So how do you take them? So in your bio, it says that you, through practical guidance and actionable at daily steps, you're able to teach your clients how to feel authentic love for themselves. So what are some of that guidance and actionable daily steps that, just as an example that you would give them?
So the way that we dispense with those old stories and build more respect and love for ourselves is through respectable behavior. We build self-esteem through esteemable behavior,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So first we have to determine, what are you not doing in your life that if you were doing it, you'd feel better about yourself?
Yeah.
And those are often very simple things: exercising, eating better, making more money at work, calling friends more often, rekindling old friendships, patching up your relationship with your mom, going
Yeah.
to couples counseling with your husband or wife,
Yeah.
um, volunteering at your local church, meditating, reducing your anxiety, right? None of these things are rocket science.
Right.
But the first question is, what are you not doing that if you did it would make you feel better? And what are you doing that if you stopped it, you would feel better?
Yeah.
So that could be like drinking too much or smoking too much weed, or eating like shit, or hanging out with the wrong people, or being a workaholic. There's so many things we don't do that if we just implemented a few of them, there would be an astronomical surge in how we feel about ourselves. And there are so many things that we do that if we cut them or stopped them, there would be a huge surge in the way we feel about ourselves.
Yeah.
But what builds the self-respect and the self-esteem is to do them over and over again, and then to say, I did this.
Yeah.
I accomplished this. I set my mind to something. I made changes, and I actually feel better. And then your subconscious mind goes, I guess you're not this loser that just has to feel terrible about herself or himself all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people approach like this self-love, self-esteem thing from the perspective of like, you're good enough and you have enough, and affirmations and manifesting and, self-talk, and all of that is great. But my approach is a lot more practical and behavioral, because
Yeah.
that's what I have found creates a different feeling internally and creates different results externally. Does that
Absolutely.
make sense?
Oh, I'm 100% on board with that. I'm all about the manifestation and good self-talk, but if I don't show up for myself on a daily basis, and if I like kind of, I mean, obviously this doesn't happen as much as it used to, but I've had to set goals for myself and stick to those goals and accomplish them. And every time that I would stick to something and show up for myself day in and day out, my self-esteem would grow and build and get stronger, and I would feel better and more confident about myself. Not only that, but I'm creating good habits and good patterns in my life that are breaking away from some of those destructive patterns before. So I'm all about it. I believe that, I don't believe in being entitled. I think that you're supposed to work for what you want, because there's no lesson in something being given to you. The lesson sometimes has to be earned. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. I mean, for me, personally, I've had, I've had a little bit of a rough life, I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
but I haven't allowed that to define myself. And I look back on some of those times and I think, okay, I had to go through some of those things to create who I am today, because I can reflect on those experiences, and it has given me the wisdom and the foresight that I now have. And that's why I started this show that has connected so many people across the world. And to me, that's been a gift. going through all those experiences. Just like you are now a coach and a speaker, which is a huge deal. You know, I mean, to be able to speak to people and impact people's lives in a positive way to help them for the better and change. That's like you were giving gifts that, you know, God gave, like, said, you're going to survive this and you can come out of it better and stronger. And you're going to be a guiding light to those that might be struggling.
Well, thank you. And we're doing the exact same thing in different approaches. You know, you're taking the lessons that you've learned, the hardships that you've had, and you're channeling it into your podcast, which has a ripple effect and touches many different people's lives across many different countries. And, you know, I do that in my own way. So I really commend you and appreciate you. And I think that one lesson that we can share is that sometimes in life, if your path is harder, it's because your calling is higher.
Yes. Amen to that.
I never wish for anybody to struggle or have a hard life. I wish peace for everybody internally and externally. And of course, everybody struggles, everybody has their stuff, but there are some people who get knocked down over and over and over again in life. And it takes a long time to recover from that.
Yeah.
Hello, puppy.
This is Athena. She's like,
hi, Athena.
She thinks she's a cat. Thank you.
You know, but those people, if they can overcome their demons, often go on to fulfill a higher calling and deliver, you know, their purpose. And what I want to say to anybody who's listening is that I know you've struggled and I know you've had a hard life in one way or another, however large or small. And because you've struggled and had a hard life in one way or another, you have a purpose, however large or small.
I agree.
People often think that their life purpose has to be to cure cancer or save the kids in Africa or, you know, become a speaker and write a best-selling book or something like that. You don't. Your purpose, everybody's purpose in life every day is giving their gift.
Yeah.
All you have to do is discover your gift. In your case, at this stage of your life, your gift is your podcast. And I'm sure a few other things that you do, right?
Yeah.
At this stage of my life, my gift is my speaking and my coaching and my relationships. Maybe it'll be different in 10 years.
Yeah.
And somebody else, even if they work at McDonald's, their gift is giving the best possible service at the cash register or making the best possible Big Mac and putting a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah.
McDonald's, you can send me the check for that endorsement.
I love it.
You know, but seriously, I just want everyone to understand that however large and grandiose or small and trivial you think your life is, you have a purpose. It's just to discover what is my gift at that time in my life and how do I give it away to people.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen to that. Yeah, I love it. That was beautiful. Well, okay, because we're coming up on time here. It's time to start saying our goodbyes. So where can people find you, connect with you, you know, if they want to learn more, want to learn about your coaching, your speaking, where can they connect?
My Instagram is probably the easiest way. You can always send me a DM. It's just my name, Kevin Nahai, and my last name is N as in Nancy, Ahai. And my website is my name, kevinnahai.com.
Okay, cool. Yeah, are you on LinkedIn at all?
I am, but I need to be better about checking it. So you can definitely, I know. You can definitely reach out, but Instagram and my website are the easiest ways.
All right. I'll put those links in the show notes, you guys. So don't hesitate to reach out to Kevin if you're someone that was moved by his story and you connect with him. He is there. Obviously, he is very kind, very gracious, and very open in wanting to connect. So don't hesitate to go and give him a follow and shoot him a quick message. Kevin, you've already left us with some great wisdom today and some words that moved me. But at the end, I always like to ask for any last words of wisdom or advice. So is there anything left that you'd like to leave with the audience before we say goodbye?
Ask yourself, what is one thing you can do today, tomorrow, and the next day to improve your life 1%? Forget about your 5-year goals. Forget about the huge things you want to do. Start focusing on the tiny 1% changes, whether that's quitting doing something or adding something to your routine, just start small. Think big, but act small, right?
Yes.
Think big, act small, and eventually those little acts will compound. And before you know it, you'll be where you want to be.
Amen to that. I totally agree. Well, we're both living proof of that. So we've both done those and made those changes in our life a little bit at a time to get to us to where we are today. So we are an example, you guys. So don't be afraid of setting those small goals and achieving them day in and day out, and big things will happen. You will see. Kevin, thank you for being a guest today. Please keep us up to date on any new projects you might have so we can have you back to update the audience. So thank you for doing what you do. Just love it and keep spreading that positivity and helping people become better versions of themselves.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you, Deanna.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to comment, share, rate, review, subscribe, follow, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.